Alright, so welcome back. Hoping you guys are having a fabulous day here today. I wanted to talk about, in this video specifically, I wanted to talk about Meliodas himself and how he will kind of play, right? I've done this before, some collab units have released, and overall we were pretty, kind of accurate on some of it. Again, with this unit itself, it's a lot of mystery onto how it'll play and what typing it'll be and how it'll actually function, given there's multiple Meliodases in the game. Will this be some sort of niche? Will it be just some sort of actually just stellar, broken, insane unit? Today we'll talk about it. If you're new to the channel, like, subscribe, helps out a ton. With that being said, let's jump into it. So first thing, yes, if you didn't already know, that Meliodas that we recently saw in the newest chapter, that is this Meliodas. Just the art that we have now is a more drippier version, I guess. He's like a trench coat, a nice scarf. The scarf is immaculate. Somebody commented on my last video, and like a lot of people agreed. Yes, the scarf is immaculate. The rest of the outfit, though, I don't know. I don't know if it flows. Okay, if it, there has to be a better cosmetic on the side, all right? That's all I need. Everything else matches up, but that part, I don't know. Overall, with this unit, it is called Trillion Dark, right? The entire purpose of it is that he uses that Trillion Dark attack, and you can basically see that from the orbs of darkness around him in the splash shot that we've already seen, which confirms, yes, they're going to go Purgatory Meliodas. They're going to get an attack in there or an ultimate in there that is going to be that of the Trillion Dark attack, right? And again, Trillion Dark was using the anime basically, I think, to like destroy the giant Demon King. It was like he attacked him and that nuked him. Also, it was used like when the Sins like arrived or something like that. They were like, I don't know, they were behind him and like the whole thing went down where he was like talking. It was like 30 seconds long. I don't know. It was a whole little scene, right? But that's how that entire thing worked, where Trillion Dark was used, and he basically just has giant orbs of darkness, and that just spirals around and then attacks the enemy. That's basically the attack, which could set up to be an ultimate or an attack for this character. Again, I genuinely wonder how they do it, but the one thing that's been missing, in Meliodas for a very long time is his basic skill, full counter. If you look at it, Trillion Meliodas released last year, there was no counter card. Meliodas Ragnarok released, I think, either before this or at some point, it did not have a counter card. So there's that. Meliodas tomorrow, the Captain Meliodas, released with no counter card. So at this point, we have so many Meliodases that do not have a freaking counter card that is not even funny. Also, a quick little thing, we have all of these Meliodases. We have red LV MELI, which is a Fez MELI, green MELI, which is again a Fez MELI. We're still missing a blue MELI. So there is a chance that this could add up to be a blue unit, because we do not yet have a blue Festival Meliodas. The thing is, most likely it'll be dark. Literally his attack is called Trillion Dark. It only makes sense that he is a dark unit. Again, I already know people will like complain about that because we already have one dark MELI, but it's understandable. He's a dark, like literally, his name is Trillion Dark, okay? His attack is named Trillion Dark. There's no way he doesn't become dark. It makes sense to be that, but we'll see how that actually goes. But yes, the main thing, we are missing a counter. And again, with the splash art we currently had, if you look at it, it's basically very, very similar to what we had with, like, if you look at it, right? It looks like kind of Ragnarok the End or one of the Creation the Ends, spiraling, like, rocks around her. Also, like, Sariel's wind that's, like, spiraling around him. It's very similar kind of things. So it could definitely be, like, a status effect that's always on him. So when he's in the field, right, it's like a little animation, or when you actually use the skill, it kicks up that animation, and it's actually going to be a counter, right? We have not had a counter Meliodas in a very long time. It would make a lot of sense, and not only would it make sense, right? Currently, Esterosa, right? He never got that 2-demon AoE. Maybe MELI does, in turn, have sort of a 2-demon AoE, right? Because first, you have his one attack, which is an AoE. His second attack, which is maybe an AoE, like, counter, right? He assumes the stance and then proceeds to AoE the entire field. We've recently had that, I think, with the newest final boss. That had the AoE counter. If you attacked it, it attacks your whole team or something like that. So that is there, right? So there's a lot they could do with this and actually make it work out to where finally Festival Meliodas has a counter after what? We have all Festival Melis and they don't have a counter, right? Lost Vein does not. MELI does not, Trillion Meliodas does not, they all don't. His main skill set basically has counter, and in the like battle specifically, I think that he uses counter like 45 times, right? And then also, he uses Trillion Dark. So they could turn Trillion Dark into a counter, they could go that way, they could turn like into a sort of stance ultimate, you assume the stance after reaching ultimate, they could do it that way too. With Ominous Nebula Elders, right? We had such different expectations of him having a counter, of a stance and everything like that, and he didn't get one. So remember, that is the case also. He did not get a stance. He has nothing that we actually predicted him to be. He was like, oh, I'm just going to do one AoE, one single target. That's the whole point of it. I'm not going to even use the Nebula attack like that. It was bit of a letdown in comparison, but again, it's finally maybe time for MELI to have a counter effect. Again, it would work pretty well with like the meta. The last time we had like a decent counter was a bit ago, actually. Like, Chandler's, again, for the current demon counters you basically have, it's basically just Chandler. That's all you have, right? So they could finally re-update that and make it good. Again, Esterosa is clearly on the banner. They were trying to, like, get him on there. They kept putting him in the art. So you don't know, like, they could also try to buff that by, again, making it AoE. Even if it's not AoE, if the counter itself is AoE, that is going to be huge for the character. Again, if it's assuming a stance after getting ultimate, that's also pretty big still. I think that, again, yes, that, you know, he'll be very good for Esterosa, because again, he's made afterwards where they had like an idea like, oh, we can make this work. Again, we currently also had Chandler and Cusack, which recently dropped. I wonder how they're going to actually play into this. Again, Cusack really wasn't like a must summon. So like, you know, I think, what is it? He buffs Pierce, right? Is that what he does? I'm going to search that up real quick while I'm here. I think he just buffs Pierce, which, I don't know, will they make it Pierce? It decreases crit chance by 20% and crit damage by 30% for all of the enemies on the battlefield, then increases demon allies' attack-related stats by 4% for each demon ally in battle. That's what that is. Is it Chandler that does Pierce? Who does Pierce? I swear someone does. Increases all Pierce rate by 40% if all allies participating in battle are applicable heroes. If any ally that's applicable, which is again a demon, attacks an enemy, increases the damage dealt by 10%, max 30% for each debuff on the enemy. But when it comes down to it, the main thing that works out is the counter. It does work out. It does make sense. We don't have a MELI with a counter. It would finally add up to be something. The other two Meliodas are pretty good, with it like being, again, AML had his own thing. It served his own purpose. Trillion Meliodas is just good overall. What will this MELI be? Is it like specifically for a piece of content? Will that counter be AoE? Will that counter be a single target? Will there actually be no counter? Maybe it's an ultimate thing. Maybe it's just basically 2 attacks. Maybe 2 AoE attacks. Maybe 1 AoE, 1 single target. And it's like, he has to have something, right? The passive, I also wonder how that's going to go. The latest MELI was like every time you use a single target, it basically just buffs him. And that was like busted, right? When you reach that like final buff, you're destroying. So how will this work? Will it be the same type of broken passive? Will it just fall under, you know, mid, like, again, that MELI was attack. The other one was like if you get attacked. So both had their own purpose. What will this be? If you get attacked, then it buffs you, because like with Trillion Dark, it's a stance effect also. How will that work? I'm gonna get people to be like too scared to attack as the stance. There's so many things that boil down to it, but I think that mainly him having a counter will be like the biggest thing possible for him. And then again, him having maybe an AoE on the side. Again, in like the anime itself, when he's attacking, he's like attacking with the same sword, or like he has like a giant like blade, like out of darkness. That's what he does, right? And then he just starts like punching him also. So that's really what he has. But how will they do it? Will they just do, again, basically a full counter only? Will it not be a Trillion Dark counter? Will the ultimate be Trillion Dark? How will they handle that? That's a lot that will be broken down when the unit releases. But I think that we can kind of assume it does have a, what is it, a counter? It would make sense. It would. But again, we'll find out what they have planned. Basically tomorrow you'll find out what the unit is, and if he does have a counter. The day after you'll find out what the unit specifically does if he releases the global, right? So again, we'll see. Where basically, if you want to consider it, 24 hours away, but at the time of recording, 24 hours away from seeing what MELI kind of looks like, or seeing if the update's actually real and drops on global, right? It could be a global first, which is crazy to think about. We'll see though, right? So again, that's been it. I'll catch you in the next one. Everyone stay safe. That's been it for me. Peace out, enjoy. Let me know what you think about it down below, and let me know what you think the actually entire kit is itself.